Last question. The federal government should underwrite private insurance coverage for flood losses. So this is obviously on the back of recent floods that we've had in New South Wales, but also floods we've had, for many years in Queensland, every year almost. So yeah, what do people think of this one?
Sir, I think you need to give us some insights, please, here.
How much loss was reported? In the sense, I mean, what I'm saying is, how much did the private insurance did not, provide? That government had to step in.
It's a good question.
What kind of loss?
It's a good question, but I know with the recent New South Wales floods, it was worse than the global financial crisis from an economic point of view for us. So it was massive, but I wouldn't know, how much the private insurance didn't cover.
Can government buy insurance every year for flood losses? Then government would pay lesser premium, and then private insurance company will anyway have to pay, right? Because
I think that's
government is a client.
Yeah, I think that's
they don't need to underwrite the whole thing. So it's like, they have to pay. Say if the loss is like $20 million, the government could have bought an insurance premium like what, 200,000, and then the company would have to pay $20 million.
Yeah.
Instead of government paying the entire $20 million. I mean, government tech can probably do that type of risk assessment, in my opinion. I don't know how much viable is that. That depends on how the insurance industry is in Australia and all that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert in this field, but does underwrite? I thought that's what that meant in terms of the government subsidises some of it. Is that not what it means, Sharad?
Oh, is it? Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah, but my understanding was if the government underwrites the private insurance, it means that they become the backup. They become the insurance's insurance. Is my understanding. I could be wrong here.
If that protects largely for the benefit of citizens, why not? Because someone has to see. This is no one's fault. If the government doesn't help the citizens, who would? This person have all, or this person who have been lost because of the floods have nothing with them. They got no house, they have no land. So who will they look at? That they should look at government. They were paying taxes all these years in an understanding, in a belief that government is there behind them if something drastic happens to them. So this is one of those things that government should take responsibility to protect them.
Yep. I agree. I'm just a little bit confused about the language here. I'm just not 100% sure what it actually means for the government to underwrite. Yeah, I think I've just found an article here that says, should the federal government step in to keep insurance affordable after floods? So perhaps it's talking about the premiums
going up after floods.
Yeah, I think that's what it's talking about based on
this. Yes, it's no one's mistake.
Yeah, so it's basically when an insurance company raises the premium levels. Because there is serious exposure to risk. And it then may become out of the reach of people who seek to insure their property and things like that. So government then pays part of the premium to help you take that insurance with the private company. Because private companies can't go bust by charging low premium when the risk can just be in the millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. So they're saying, should government pay some of that premium money? So let's say there's $100 payment. Maybe government gives $20 of that, and the private person pays the other 80 to the private insurance company. The last thing you want is as an insurance company going bust. Then everybody is left exposed. I think that's what it means.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, so I would strongly agree if that's the meaning there. Is everyone okay with that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that brings us to the end of the policy matters. The next bunch of questions are purely on the part.
You can skip this, I think, completely. Just say don't know.
Yeah.
All of it.
Which is not so critical for us from a humanist perspective. This is more about, do we trust the government, etc. So we'll just skip all of this.
Skip this as well.
And then we'll skip this profile. And that brings us to the result.